Things I want to ask you today, Richard.
Right, so again, go. Okay, so I didn't quite make out what you said there, Gary. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, like while you're testing, I've noticed sometimes you're getting into the same pair during a session and that. Are you actually going back into it again, or
Yes.
you wouldn't do that in real life, or would you?
Yes, I would. I used to do when I traded manually. I often got a second trade, or well, I think yesterday afternoon, I took 3 trades on one of the pairs and 2 trades on another. Let me just have a look. I've got them written down here. Yeah, BBP card. I took 1, 2. I took 3, and Euro card. I took 1, 2. But yeah, I took 3 each. I did that by removing the trading assistant off that pair and then reloading it and going straight back in again. I'll go through that if you like. Okay, so Gary, Tony, Helen, and Curtis, welcome. Let share my screen. Hopefully, you will be able to see four charts or more. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to go through that. In fact, I'm going to go through, bearing in mind what Paul was saying yesterday afternoon, I'm going to go through my settings list and I'm going to look at which ones you may or may, well, which ones you may want to change and what effect that might have on your trading. So I've got, just message me there. Okay, so I'm going to look at Euro US. I'm just checking. The first thing that I do before I start trading is I check that the T8 is working. So I look for the 1 o'clock line, which is the white vertical line, and the 1:15 line, which is the green vertical line, and that just tells me that everything's in order. I've also got the four blue hats, one in each corner. If I just move myself out of the way there, yeah. So there's one in that corner, there's one in that corner. So I'm confident that everything's working okay. It's telling me that we're out of session because it's not yet 1:15. So everything looks good. So I'm going to go to one pair. I'm going to go through my settings. If anybody's got any questions, by all means, shout. First thing I want to point out that you can change the time frame. So I'm working on a 1 minute time frame. You can see in the top left-hand corner, I've got M1, minute 1 minute. But we've now got the ability. We didn't have this ability on Crossfire. It was on all of the others, but we've now got it on Crossfire. You can change your charts to any time frame that you want. So if you wanted a 2 minute time frame, you'll go down to minutes and you'd select 2 minutes. And that makes it a 2 minute time frame. Now, that is something that may affect your win rate. It may affect it will affect when you're getting into trades and when you're getting out of trades. So it's possible to experiment with the time frame. If you want to go, I'll show you something. So if you want to go to the 15-minute time frame, for instance, I never traded on the 15-minute, but I did set up my trend lines on the 15-minute, and you can see you've still got the white vertical line and the green vertical line. If you wanted a bit of a clearer picture of it, you could go in slightly clearer. But basically what we used to do when I traded manually was we're waiting for this candle, which is the 1 o'clock candle. We're waiting for that to close. And then we look at the top of the candle and look left for the nearest higher candle. Currently, the nearest higher candle would be the very next one. And we look left to the nearest lower candle, and again, it will be the very next one. So we can come back in 9 minutes time and double check that that's all working okay. So that's the time frames. We've got flexibility now on time frames, so you can, as I say, you can play around and see if you can find a sweet spot at a 1 minute, 2 minute. I know Anne experiments a lot with the 3 minute, and so it's down to you. It will affect your win rate depending on the time frame that you're using. I just happen to have stuck with a 1 minute time frame because that's what I started testing the Crossfire TA on. So that's the first thing I want to point out. Then I'm going to go to my expert list and go to properties. Now, some of you will have this latest version, which has got an extra layer of security on. It's possible that others of you don't have it, but on the latest version, you need to put in your email address at the top there. It won't allow you to trade until you put your email address. Now, if anybody who's on this call doesn't have that, just let me know and I'll send it off to you. So what we're looking at, I'm going to reduce this down and just to try and focus on a few things at a time. As I say, if anybody's got any questions, by all means ask, because this session is really intended to be a bit of a troubleshooter, because we've got different people getting different results using the same trading assistant. Now, the obvious thing, or fairly obvious thing to say, is that different brokers will give you different results. I'm working with an FTMO demo account, but if you're using a different broker, you might find some variations, and that's not something that we can do anything about. So just going down these, we've been through these quite a few times, so I'm just going to run through these really quickly. We asked the trading assistant to use the risk percentage for lot calculation. You can toggle that to false. I don't see why you would want to, but you can do if you wish. Just click on that and it goes to false and back to true. In other words, what you're asking the trading assistant to do is to, if you're going for a half of 1% on this pair, and you want to risk a half of 1%, it automatically works out the lot size that you need to achieve that. When the lot size is here, it's already calculated. I'm looking for a risk to reward of 1 to 2. I have experimented, and it can work to your advantage if you change that to just over 2. So that if you're finding that when you're going for a take profit, or as in my case, my take profit is 1%. So I'm looking to make $1,000 on this trade, on this pair, because I'm on a $100,000 account. So each trade I'm looking for $1,000. Now, if you find that your actual results give you less than $1,000, that's partly due or mainly due to your broker spread. And move that out of the way. Let me just see. Is anybody else jumped on? So Barbara's jumped on. Hi, Barbara. So, if you are experiencing some lower profits than you're expecting, you can change this risk to reward ratio, and you can make it, let's say, if I wanted to make it 2.2, that would simply mean that in this scenario on this pair, if I've got a stop loss of 3 pips, I'm aiming for my risk to reward is 1 to 2. Therefore, I'm aiming for a take profit at around about 6 pips. And if you increase this to 2.2, it'll increase this number. So in other words, you're looking for a slightly higher target. But if you're looking, if your purpose in trading is to make, for instance, $1,000 on one trade at a time, that is one way of increasing or rounding up to 1,000. It'll go to just over $1,000 as opposed to 900 and something. So I'm going to take mine back to 2. That's my standard, but there's no reason why you can't change that. It just means that you're looking for price to go slightly higher. Instead of 6 pips, you're probably looking for 6.6 pips. This is something that only applies if you are doing a prop, if you're dealing with a prop firm. If you want a random magic number, this will, the random magic number is all about avoiding the prop firm accusing you of copying somebody else's trades. If you're not doing a prop firm challenge, then you don't need to worry about that. But if you do want the trading assistant to generate a random magic number, that way you won't have the same magic number as other people. So my magic number is 13579. There's no reason why you can't use my magic number so long as you're not going for a prop firm challenge. I called my trading assistant my PM Crossfire. I moved the chart to the left by 36, and that really just moves the chart to one side away from the lettering down this right-hand panel. Going through these really quickly because we've gone through these before. Show pips on open trades, send alerts when placed. So I get an audible alert when the trading assistant gets me into a trade. There is the ability to send alerts to your mobile phone when a trade is placed. I haven't got around to doing that. It's quite an interesting feature because it means that you can monitor your trades whilst you're on the go. Right, this is important. Spread filter protection. And this is where you can affect the number of trades that your trading assistant will take. If you've got this on true, you can toggle it to false if you wish, and then it ignores it. I've got mine on true, and I've got my maximum spread at 2 pips. Now, just to go back to my chart, you'll see that the trading assistant is showing me a number here, and it's a number 2, but that's not 2 pips or 3 pips, that's 2 points. So for that to be 2 or 3 pips, that would have to be 20 or 30. So I'm asking my trading assistant to keep me out of trades where the spread is more than 20 points. Sometime, well, consistently in the morning session, the 6 a.m. session, we have spreads over 2 pips. This figure is quite often 25. This morning, there were times when it was 30. And I simply don't want my trading assistant to get me in those trades. I've explained the reasons why before. I'll just say that it reduces your profit significantly. And basically, I don't think it's worth being in a trade when the spread is over a certain amount. I've got mine set at 2. You can change it if you wish. Now the expert protections, because I am trading 4 pairs on this session, and each of those pairs I'm wanting to risk a maximum of 0.5%. What I'm doing with this section here is I'm lumping all the 4 pairs into one basket. You can toggle that to false if you wish, but by toggling it back to true, you're asking your trading assistant to combine the 4 pairs and to restrict your risk to 2%. So that's 0.5% times 4. So it starts off with your daily, with your balance at the start of the day, and it risks a maximum of 2% across these 4 pairs. Once you reach a total of 2% loss, it will stop you from trading. It'll cease to take any further trades on that session. You'll see a message in this panel on the right hand side that says come back tomorrow. And equally the percentage profit, if you're going for a risk reward of 1 to 2, that would work out at 4. So you'd have 1% times 4, but I've changed it to 6, just in case I have a really good day and I win every trade, and each trade goes to slightly more than 1%. I'll still get the full profit out of it. It just means that I'm allowing the trading assistant a bit more wriggle room. Need to keep checking my messages. Okay, so partial close settings, I've completely ignored those up to now. I don't get involved in partial close settings. What you can do is you can ask the trading assistant to take partial profits and to move your stop loss to break even, and even have a trailing stop loss. But I don't get involved in that. I'm still testing the Crossfire trading assistant. Therefore, I want to see what its potential is. The new settings are important. As you can see, I've got orange lines down here, and that line there is indicating that there is news in 11 minutes time, and it's to do with the euro, and it's at 1:30. So I've got my trading assistant set to stop trading during news, by which I mean from 5 minutes before to 5 minutes after the news. And I've got the calendar importance set at moderate. The trading assistant has just got me into a trade, so I'm going to close that. I'm just going to show you the importance. You can set it to importance, so only look for high impact news, or to look for moderate news, or low news, or no news at all. I've got mine set to moderate. I really would like to be able to rely on a high impact only setting, but apparently there have been issues with that. But moderate is doing the same job. So it's now 20 minutes past 1. At 25 minutes past 1, my trading assistant will not get me into any new trades. So I'm going to leave that where it is now. I'm going to come back to Crossfire Properties in a minute, but I'm going to look at my trade. Well, I needn't have bothered because it's got me in and it's got me out.
You're okay, Richard.
That's Euro US.
Yeah, it's got me in and out of that one. Put me now on Euro CAD at the minute.
Well, I'm not in Eurocast, so maybe we'll use that as an example in a second.
It's just got me out. It's just lost that one.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Let's just have a look at this trade that my trading assistant got me into. Okay. I'm sorry, I need to keep monitoring my messages. I'm waiting for quite an important one. So my trading assistant, once the trend lines have been drawn, you've got a green trend line, you've got a red trend line, and whilst price is between those two trend lines, we don't get into any trades. Once price gets above the green trend line, we start to look for buys. So price was going up nicely. I set my trading assistant to look out. The second filter is that it looks for a recent change of wave. So there's the wave. I'll just put the line on so you can. So the line is showing the actual price, but the red bars are the Heikin-Ashi, the smooth Heikin-Ashi bars. And you can see that they change from red going down to green going up at that point. So that there has been a recent wave change. And so that's filter number 2. Filter number 3 is, has there been a recent MA crossover? So I've got 2 MAs, that's 2 moving averages. The yellow line that you can see, if I hover over it, it'll say 13, I believe. Yeah, so that is the exponential moving average, and my setting is 13. And the white line is the 200. So I wait for a crossover, and it occurred just there. So it occurred slightly after the Heikin-Ashi change, and that triggered potential. Well, that was the third. That was the third of 4 filters. It didn't get me in as soon as it crossed over because it waited for the water atta. And if I put a line on here, you can see that. I'll just move that to the left. Not there we go. Okay, so you can see that when it got me in, which was at the high point there, we had a decent, we had a good water atta setup in that the explosion line, which is the blue line, was pointing away from the orange line, which is the dead zone line, and the histogram bars were above the explosion line. So that was all 4 of my filters came into play, and the trading assistant got me in. However, price immediately went down. So it got me in at the top there, and then price went down, it got me out again. Now, let me just look at, if I want to make a point about the time frames, because this may be an example of, if I go to 2 minutes, it's not showing on that chart where I got in, but I remember where it was the top of that candle there. So everything was correct. Wasn't quite as good on this histogram, wasn't as good on the 2 minute. So that may be an argument for trading on the 2 minute chart, because if I'd been on the 2 minute chart, my water atta would not have got me in. So maybe I'm going to start experimenting and trading on the 2 minute chart. To be fair, when I traded manually, I used to trade on the 2 minute chart. But maybe I'm going to test out, but I will. As of now, I'll start testing on the 2-minute chart. Just to be a little bit more. If I go to the 5-minute time frame, once again, we were. No, that wouldn't have got me in either because that explosion line was flat. So maybe it would be worth me trying on the 2-minute time frame. So I'm going to set this on the 2-minute time frame and leave it there.
Hi, Richard. Could I ask a quick question?
Yeah, of course you can.
Does the trading assistant get you in using the same criteria, but based on the time frame you're looking at on the chart?
Yes.
Okay. So if you wanted to get in on the 2-minute, you have to leave it sitting on the 2-minute.
That's my belief. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Thank you.
I can ask Oliver and just get him to confirm.
No, I was just clarifying because I hadn't really thought about it because I assumed the criteria were based on the settings in the properties, which I don't know whether that still says 1 minute, even though you've changed the chart to 2 minutes, does it?
Let me just have a look.
Can't even see where it says 1 minute now.
Well, I don't think it does. That's what I was just thinking. I don't think we actually specify the time frame in the.
Okay, maybe it's some of the other TAs then that have got a time frame setting in there. Okay, all right, thank you.
Well, I will ask Oliver because I don't want to mislead anybody, but I would assume that whatever time frame your chart is on is the time frame that the TA will look up. I assume that, but I'm going to check. I'm going to write that down now.
Thank you.
I've got a couple of things I need to ask Oliver.
Just out of interest, my calendar settings are obviously working because it didn't get me into that trade because I got mine set for 10 minutes before.
Right. Okay. That's all you can ask.
Yes, indeed.
If the trading assistant is doing what you're asking it to do, that's as much as it can do. Yeah, I mean, I was wanting to emphasise not so much for the people on this call because you've all been around a while, but there are people watch the YouTube video and some of the comments I'm getting, some of the messages I'm getting are to do with being quite surprised that the trading assistant loses any trades. So just to emphasize, the trading assistant will always lose trades. The trading assistant will never win every trade, and it's based, and the reason for that is it's based on your instructions. The advantage of using a trading assistant is it makes the decisions much quicker and more consistent, but it doesn't take. It doesn't actually make any better decisions than you would make. So the human factor is still there. It's just well, in my eyes, what it does really brilliantly is take out the emotion and take out the inconsistency. Because if I think about when I'm getting in a trade, it depends on how I'm feeling at the time and whether I'm trying to make up some losses or whether I'm, there are all kinds of emotions that you can go through, and that interferes with your decision making. And that's why I like the trading assistant, because it follows to the letter what I've asked it to do. I can change what I ask it to do, but I can't, there's no point in shouting and screaming when it gets me into a trade and that trade loses, because we're always going to lose trades. So what else did I want to point out? So we're now in Well, we've got two items to discuss here. We've got already traded and we've got no trading due to news. Now, I said earlier, my setting is from 5 minutes before. So from that point there, my trading assistant was not taking any trades, and it won't take any trades until 5 minutes after 1:30. So when the 1:35 candle closes, this will change. That no trading will disappear. However, the already traded will remain. And I've already asked Oliver, but he hasn't come back to me yet. I was asking Oliver whether it's possible to make this optional, because what the trading assistant does, if you're trading 4 pairs, once you've been in a trade, whether you've won it or lost it, it says already traded, and it will not. Well, it's not intended to take another trade. There have been occasions when it has taken another trade, but I think that's because something has slipped through the net. It's happened to me. I think it happened to Curtis last week. What I'm asking Oliver to do is to make this already traded an optional, so you can toggle between true and false. And I think that should be possible. He's obviously busy with something else. So let me just check. It would be good if Oliver was on. No, we've got Merv and we've got Tommy, but we haven't got. No, okay, so I'll raise that with Oliver. But the reason I got into multiple trades yesterday was because I did it manually. And this is how I did it. Having, if I go back to the 1 minute for this purpose, time frame is 1 minute. So for some reason the arrows have disappeared, the entry and the exit, but it got me in at that point there, and it got me out down here somewhere. It's telling me already traded, so basically it's saying I'm not going to get you in another trade now on this pair. So what you can do is you can go to Navigator, and you can go to Euro US, and if you click on that and then right click, and you can remove the algo from Euro USD. It's disappeared now, so it's not attached to my trading assistant, but I can drag the Crossfire trading assistant back onto the screen. I check that we've got the box ticked, and I can get my set list, and I can see that this is the wrong set. This is this is a previous set. So what I need to do is load my current set. So Richard's Crossfire afternoon UK EU3. And if I load that on, that is my current set 13579. And so if I click OK, it now appears, and it will now, it's saying there looking for a buy signal. Now I was able to do that twice on this pair, or was it? No, it wasn't. It was a Canadian dollar pairs. They went into a steep decline yesterday afternoon, and I made 1%. Well, I won some and I lost some, so I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So that I took 6 trades altogether. I lost 3 and I won 3. There we are. We've now got me into a buy trade on GBP USD.
This is manual trade you took when you went in it again, or did you let the TA do it?
No, what the ones I've just been talking about
Yeah, yesterday.
yesterday. Yeah, I did them. The process I've just been through, where I took the trading assistant
Yeah,
off that pair, and then I put it
right.
back in again, and then put my correct set on. That I did that each time.
I'm just thinking because when you sometimes when you if there's four pairs and all four pairs lose, that's 2%. So you've got that side of it, but you've also got that sometimes if you lose more than 4% in a day on a real account, you blow your account. You
Yes,
break the rule.
yeah. I mean, I'm sort of still in testing mode at the minute, so I tend to see what is possible rather than trying to protect the account. But yeah, you're right. If you're in a funded account situation, you wouldn't want to overexpose yourself. But it's what the main point I'm trying to make is that I'm asking Oliver to make it optional so that if you see an opportunity and you want to get in, you can ask the trading assistant to get you in. But my way around it at the moment is to simply take it off, take the trading assistant off that one pair, and then drag it across again. And you've got to put your current settings on, otherwise the settings will be outdated. And now this one here, we're on GBP CAD. We're on GBP US. We haven't traded this one before, so it got me into a trade, and I'm just going to go through the reasons why. If I take off Navigator. So the trading assistant noticed that my price was above the green trend line, so it starts looking for buy opportunities. And then if I mark the entry, it got me in at 1336. Now, I'll go through the starting at the top. It spotted that I was price was above the green trend line. It looked for a recent wave change, so it looked for the red becoming a green, and then it looked for a recent MA crossover. And those three were satisfied. Down here, I'm assuming that at the minute or the second it got me in, that histogram must have been slightly above that histogram because it wouldn't have got me in if it had been below that. So we have an explosion line pointing away from the dead zone, and we have this histogram above the explosion line. So it got me in. Unfortunately, we've lost that one as well because it got me out at that point. But once again, the trading assistant has done exactly what I asked it to do. If I want it to perform differently, I need to change my settings. I'm just going to have a look at the chart at the time frame and see if it would have made any difference if I'd been on the 2-minute time frame. And it will go back and just see what time it was when we got in. It's disappeared. But it was on that candle there. It got me in on the 1-minute chart. It got me in at 1336. Go back to the 2-minute chart. Okay. So, right, the 2-minute chart wouldn't have got me in. I am above the green trend line, and I have had a recent wave change. Let me just double check. Yeah, the wave change occurred just at the end of that news. However, the moving average didn't cross over on the 2 minute. So there's another case for being playing safer and going on the 2 minute chart. The water atta on the 2 minute wouldn't have got me in either, because the blue line is below the dead zone. So on those two occasions, we would have been better off on the 2 minute chart. So I'm going to leave that one at 2 minutes as well, just to test out. So having got already traded, I need to manually remove and reload. So GB3 US dollar, if I click on that and then right click, remove that from that pair and then reinstate it, check that that box is ticked, go to inputs, that is not the correct setting. So I need to go to my that pair is a 4 pip stop loss. And that's back to where I was. And I'm going to stay on the 2 minute chart and let's see what that one does. So just looking at the current situation, we're below the red trend line. So we're now looking for sells. It's confirming that there. We have a recent wave change. It changed from green up to red down. But we haven't had a recent moving average crossover. And the water atta is telling me to keep out because the blue line is below the dead zone line. Now, something else I need to ask Oliver. Remember, previously we had some information up on the left-hand side of the panel, left-hand side of the screen, and it kept changing from no trade to short to long, and that has disappeared off my chart, although Oliver told me quite definitely that it was on in a message that he sent me, but it's not on. And I'll show you why in a second. So I need the water atta. Okay, so the trading assistant is looking at this for a sell, but it's waiting for an MA crossover. And I'm not, well, maybe that's looking a bit more promising now because the blue line is slightly above the dead zone line and it's pointing away from the dead zone. Now I have the option with this panel here to override the trading assistant and say to it, it doesn't matter that we haven't had a recent crossover, MA crossover, just get me into a sell. Well, should I do that now? Yeah, I think I'm going to do that just for demonstration purposes. I wouldn't recommend anybody to get in, but just to demonstrate another feature, I'm going to wait until this green candle disappears. That's a bit of a no-no actually for me. Going back to manual trading days, when price came down here and wicked down and then started to go back up, that wouldn't encourage me to get in. And also the water atta has changed from red to orange, so it's not a good time to get in for a sell. So we'll leave that for now, but you do have the option to just press that button there, click on there, and it will get you into a sell. Let me look at the other pair, see if there's anything coming up. So we've lost one trade each on the two left-hand pairs. I'm just wondering what's going on with the Canadian dollar pairs. We're looking for a buy signal because we're above the green trend line, but there's nothing else confirming that. The wave is red downward wave. Can't see the, oh, well, there is, there's the 200 moving average. There'll be no recent crossover, and the water after is telling me to keep out. This one, we're below the red signal, but we're also we're above the green trend line, and it's favouring a buy because we're above the green trend line and everything else is saying sell. So there's nothing happening there. So I'm going to go back to my setting. So I go to settings in Euro USD. Go back to where we were. Right, so we just covered the new settings. I've got mine on 5 and 5. You can change that. That might keep you out of some trades if you put 10, 10, 5 or 10, 10. That's something you need to experiment with. Cross 5 properties, you shouldn't really be changing the minutes to look back because I put 900 in there on the basis that we always look back to the start of today's session. So the start of the Asian session for Tuesday began at 10 p.m. last night, UK time, so 900 minutes away. So that's kind of fixed. The 180 is where you tell the training assistant how many minutes you want it to trade. So you're asking it to start down here at 1300 hours UK time, and I want it to trade for 3 hours, so that's 180 minutes. So I've got Sunday trading false. We're coming to some more interesting stuff in a minute. Europeans, sorry, I'm working on, you've only got a choice of European summertime or US summertime drop-down menu. But you've got to work off one or the other of those. I'm in the UK, so stick to Euro. This is something that might get you, right, double click on that. I've got mine set on, it's about the exit, and you can ask your trading assistant to get you out of a trade either when there's a change of Heikin-Ashi, or when there's or to keep you in until you get to your take profit. You must ignore the exit on HMA because the HMA is completely irrelevant to the crossfire strategy. Your trading assistant completely ignores it. So you've got choice of two. You can either get out on the HA change, or you can stay in until you get to the take profit. That's the one I've chosen to go for. The smoothing period, this is a Heikin-Ashi settings. I've got mine set to 13. You could, if you wish, change that. I know Paul's got a setting of 31 on some of his. There was a 38. It's completely optional. And if you want to change it, you just double click on it and then type in the number that you want it to work off. But my Heikin-Ashis are 13. That they're all standard. Now, this is something that you may wish to change or may wish to experiment with. The signal look back bars. So these are Heikin-Ashi look back bars, and this is how far back the trading assistant accepts a change of wave. So if I go back to change of wave, if I look at Euro US and I make it a bit bigger, so there's my there's my Heiken ashes, and I'm asking it to take into consideration a wave change. So there's a wave change, and it's happened within the last 3 candles. You can limit how far back it goes. So if you were looking at this point here, and there had been a wave change back there, but maybe you thought that was too far in the distant past. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There's over, well, there's over 20 there, over 20 green Heiken ashes. You might feel that's a bit too far in the past. So you might ask your trading assistant to only look back, say, to 10 or 15, or you could go to 20. But it's something that will affect the trades that your trading assistant takes. So you need to decide on a number that you're happy with.
You're not looking at 20 candles at one point, is it?
I just realised I've got a different setting there. So if I go back to that, I might change that. Yeah, so to be honest, I'm not sure what the look back bars signal, and I'm not sure what the difference is, but I used to have these both set on 20. Now, let's compromise and put them on 15, just as an experiment. So sort of between where they were and where I used to have them, and we'll put that on there and just test that for a while, see what happens. Basically, it just what I'm looking for when I'm getting into a trade is for a recent wave change, and this is where Oliver pointed out to me that recent is not a definition, not a word that he understands, being a computer programmer. He said define recent. So on the Heiken ashes, I think I settled for 20. I've just changed it to 15 just to see if it makes any difference. And on the moving average, it's a similar situation. You need to decide how far back the crossover. See, there's the recent, there's the latest crossover. Now, is it how meaningful is that crossover now? Because we've been quite a while. That candle. So that candle there was at 1:16, and it's now 1:54. So it's almost 40 minutes ago. Is it really relevant? That's what goes through my mind. I would have liked to have got in as soon as that crossover occurred. I couldn't because we weren't above the green trend line. But once we got above the green trend line, there had been a recent change of wave. Therefore, I would think that is an opportunity. And why didn't my trading assistant take it? Well, because this was wrong. The water atom was wrong. So just thinking about the moving average crossover, I think it's a stronger indication if it's fairly recent, and I'm defining recent as round about 12 candles ago. Maybe I'll change that to 15 and make everything 15. Let's just go back to that. But these are things that you can change, and they'll affect your win rate because they'll affect the way that your trading assistant, you'll affect its logic. So if I go to the MA crossover, so my Heiken Ashes settings are on 13. My yellow line is a 13 moving average. My I've just placed those there whilst we've been on this call. I've changed those to 15 just to see what difference that makes. The FVG settings, this is quite important. You need to change that to false because the train assistant doesn't take any notice of the FVG, but if you don't have these set to 0, you'll see the FVG displayed on your chart, and really you don't want that because it's just irrelevant. Same with the HMA settings. Your training assistant will ignore the HMA, so you want that that HMA indicator to be on false. But this is something new on the latest edition. You've now got the option that you can now check. You can now set your moving averages on this screen. So if I just move that down a little bit. So this is all about the 3MA and 2MA cross signal. I'm working on 2MA cross signal, but you need the 3MA to be on true. You need the 2MA to be on true for that to work. The EMA candle, I'm asking it to look back. This is what I've just been saying about this, the crossover. How far back was that? Well, it was about 40 candles ago. I'm going to change this just to test it. I'm going to change this to 15 so that everything's set to 15. So that's my EMA look back. It's looking back 15 candles. If it's more than 15, it ignores it. Now my fast moving average, as I said earlier, is 13. It's a solid line and it's gold. My medium moving average is set to 200. It's a solid line and it's white. And my slow moving average is also set to 200 and it's also white. Now, WAE entry filter, I like the water atta, so I've got this on true, I've got this on true, everything else is as it was out the box.
To the bottom there, Richard, just for a minute. You keep going down to the bottom.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. You know where you've got them false, the show actions for diagnostics.
Yeah.
I think if you change that one to true, it'll bring up the what active figures on this in the little box on the top chart. So not that one, the next one down.
All right. I've just pointed this out to Oliver. I said you've got 2 show actions for diagnostics, and you don't have one that says what atta, even though he told me there was one. So that's
it's the second one down, I think.
Change that to true.
It needs to reload it, and then it brings it up after a minute or so. I think.
Well, that would make sense. You've just got the wrong title. It's got the correct settings in there, but no. There we go. There it is. Well done. Well spotted. Basically, what has happened there is that Oliver has put one of the properties that I wanted in there. He's actually put it in, but he's actually got the wrong title. That should say water atta, just show water atta data or something like that. So he needs to change that title. But anyway, well done for spotting that, because I've just asked Oliver to have a look at that. So the manual trade pattern panel is this panel here, which you can take off if you don't want it. Show action for diagnostic, you only need that if you've got a, this is actually the water atta, which is this one. The diagnostic is, you need to keep that on false unless Oliver asks you to send in some diagnostics. I found that the screen zoom actually makes no difference whatsoever. My blue panel is really tightly condensed, and I cannot find any way to change that. But that's supposed to change it, but it doesn't. Everything else in the water atta is as it was out the box. So I've done a run through of all of my settings and which ones you're able to change, and I hope that helps. What I would do is I'm going to change all of my charts to 2 minutes. So this one, charts, time frames, minutes, 2 minutes. So that's just changed to 2 minutes.
Would you have to reload the TA again onto the screens, or just changing it to 2 minutes, will that do it?
I believe so, but I'm going to ask Oliver what the correct procedure is. What I'm hoping is that we'll get into a trade on the 2 minute chart, and then we'll know for a fact. Actually, I just need to change that again because it didn't work. So, time frames, minutes, 2 minutes. Right, so that has now changed to 2 minutes. Something that you can try doing if you get in, I'm going to change this one as well. Time frames, minutes, 2 minutes. So that's enough. So we've now got all 4 charts on 2 minutes. One of the things that I do, just as a matter of routine, before I came onto this this call, I actually removed the trading assistant from all 4 charts and then reloaded them on all 4 charts. And it just seems to, well, my thinking is that it stops some of the issues that some people had with the trading assistant not working correctly. And I think I'm avoiding most of those problems by having a fresh start every day. It takes a couple of minutes, but I think it's worth it. So I'll go through that again, just in case anybody didn't understand what I was on about. I'll bring that back down to normal size. And I'll put my candles on. So that's my chart. And before I do any trading, I go to the navigator window, and I do this for every pair, but I'll just do it for this one pair. So Euro USD, I click on it, I right click on it, I remove it, I'll go from it, and I've now got I've still got the chart, and it's still got some of the information I don't need. I've actually still got if I go to indicator list, I can remove one of those. Look, I've got all of these. This is what I mean about starting afresh every time. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 HA smooth, and they're probably all the same. I'm just going to delete them. And I'm going to delete that moving average as well. So I've now got a clean chart. And if I drag this across, check that I've got algo trading on, put my inputs on. That is an out of date one. So I go to and I'm on Euro US. So I want the 3 pip. And that should now. Now I don't have this. I think what I should have done when I did that last change at the bottom, I should have saved that. Yeah, I changed that to true, but I didn't save it, so I'll change it now I won't save it now because I'm at the end of this session, but you should see that information appear in a second. Why is that not appeared?
On it, I think.
Well, that's strange. Maybe it waits until this candle is finished. I'll just wait 30 seconds, and if that doesn't appear, then we've got
It could do, I think.
I'm going to finish this session unless there's any last minute questions. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm just going to wait for this new candle to appear.
Richard, I've just got a quick question, please. I've been not able to be as involved as I have been of late for various reasons, and I've been watching a lot of recordings, catching up and that. And I seem to be on Crossfire 2.0. I noticed there seems to be several versions since then.
Yes.
Yeah. And when I was looking the other day on I think it was from Thursday last week, there's now security put in it as well. Yeah. So I need to have the latest updated version, but I notice you've got yours with still brackets, and I believe that the security doesn't work on that. Or have I misunderstood something?
Yeah, this one in brackets now that used to affect the trading assistant. It's now more of a. It's telling me I've got a copy.
Yeah.
Oh.
But something about putting security in now and an email address, and that's where I'm up to on watching the playback from last week. But I've noticed while I'm on this session, I'm still on Crossfire 2.0.
Yeah.
Where's the latest version of it?
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you, and there's also a little file. Oh, by the way, I've just got my so that candle closed and disappeared. So that's the way to do it. There is a file I can send you that tells you how to do the security thing. You just need to tick up. There's a box that you need to.
Yeah, a couple of boxes. I've seen that on the session, but it's more. I've been looking back on the chat and trying to find the latest Crossfire version, and I can't seem to find it. If you could send me that.
I'll send you that. As soon as
I don't know if you've got access to Discord, but it is in Discord.
Is it? I've just been looking through it while I've been on the call now. And where's it at in Discord?
If you go to the Crossfire section, it's under Download Crossfire.
Right. Okay. If I've got any problem, I'll let you know.
It's got the latest Crossfire, and it's also got the morning and afternoon sets in there.
Brilliant. Thank you, Helen. Thank you.
Okay.
Mine never takes a trade. Never. I had one trade, I think, this week, and it was a small loss, but I just wonder if I got something wrong.
Yeah, if you want me to have a look at it, if you could send me a full screenshot, so if you take off things like Navigator, just send me like this full screenshot. I'll just see if I can see anything, and I'll get back to you if I need anything else. I mean, mine's just taken two. I've lost both of them, but it's definitely taken trades today. It took quite a few yesterday, so there must be something.
Richard,
not quite right. Yeah. So you send me that, Tommy.
Okay.
Richard,
Yeah.
I reckon definitely, there you go. I'm going to say definitely. I reckon this taking everything off because it remembers the moving averages and the SFFs and that, and you whack on a new set and the MT still remembers it all, and you get all this stuff. That's why I was getting all these red lines and everything.
Yeah.
And I think your idea of stripping it all off, like you just said, is definitely the way to go.
Yeah. You see, I've still got three moving averages.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
moving
just
two.
all of it. Yeah.
Those bottom two are both 200. If you click that's a 13. The other two will be 200s.
What? Why does it do that? Do you know?
It's got to be something in the coding, which probably can be solved, but all of us doing a million things at the same time. Yeah, I just think it's really good practice before you start trading to take the TA off each chart and load it back up again. It'll take you, what, 60 seconds. But then you avoid any of the issues that people seem to be having. And, I even I just look for the blue hat because every now and again something will change that. And if you go to view navigator, see, I've only got one version of Crossfire. I've seen some people's navigator chart and they've got heaps and heaps of different trading assistants, and they've got several versions of Crossfire. And I just think it's asking for trouble, really. And I know in a perfect world it wouldn't happen, but I like to keep everything nice and clean. But I've got, and if you're struggling a little bit, there's nothing wrong with sort of deleting that and loading it up again, because it'll still be in your download folder. You can load it up and then you start off with a clean version. And it certainly pays. I haven't had any issues. Like a lot of people seem to be having some issues with the trading assistant. I've not had them, but I've started deleting everything and then starting afresh every day.
I think the other thing is that Oliver was saying that if you use the latest one with the security, and you mustn't change the title of the file, because the security, if you do, then the security just stops working. The file stops working.
All right, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you absolutely. He emphasised it a couple of times. You absolutely mustn't change the name of the file.
Okay. Obviously, I'll have to start watching more of whole stuff. Right. So, anything else? I'm just going to have a quick look at the 4 pairs and just see if I can spot anything going on. So I'll get rid of that. So Euro US, we are running this one here with the 13 moving average is kind of running in parallel to the 200 moving average, but prices above the green trend line, and therefore if price continues to go up, it'll break past. Well, it'll either bounce or break. If it breaks past the 200 moving average, we're above the green trend line, and what we'll be looking for is a change of Heikin-Ashi from red to green to confirm that. So what I'm kind of thinking is that the 13 moving average will cross over the 200. There'll be a change of wave.
Richard, we are on the 2-minute chart, yeah?
Yes.
You're okay with that?
Experimenting a little bit because my trading assistant took couple of trades early on in this session.
Yeah, no, I've been following the live, so that, but I just checking just now. You're definitely still talking about the 2 minute, not the 1 minute. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm just going to leave it on the 2 minute for the rest of this session until 4
Okay.
o'clock. We'll see if it makes a difference. So the price has just gone above the 200. If it keeps going, this moving average is going to cross over, and we've already got a wave change from red to green. So I'm going to keep an eye on down here. It's saying no trade at the minute, but that can change. Now, when we talk about bounce or break, it still has a chance to come back down below the 200. But if it continues to go up, keep an eye on that for potential buying opportunity. My trading assistant is looking for a buy signal rather than a sell. So that is sort of pretty close to a move. Or it could just reverse and come and stay below the 200. The 200 was coming down. It's now almost level. And we've got green histogram bars. They're not strong enough yet, but they have changed from red to green. So that's one to keep an eye on. Although your trading assistant will do that for you. I'll look at the other three and just right. So we've now got the opposite here. We're in a downward trend. We're moving away from the 200. We're looking for a sell signal, but price is actually now coming back up. You see how price is kind of clinging to that green trend line. And the water after is definitely telling me to keep out. So I don't think there's anything going to happen on that pair. Euro US is more likely. Yeah, similar thing. This is Euro card. We were looking at Euro US, hoping that the 13 moving average will head through the 200. We're above the green. The histogram is shaping up for a buy. Not quite there yet. And I'm going to assume that this pair will be not ready, the same as the other GBP pair. It's too far away from the 200. It's struggling to get past the green trend line. The 200 is definitely pointing down. The 13 is definitely pointing down. It's following the green trend line. There's nothing going to happen there. There's news in 42 minutes time. So I think the favourites for a potential move are the two top charts, Euro US and Euro CAD. That's shaping up nicely, isn't it? It's got some way to go before you get an MA crossover. Just the last look at this one. Now that could either just keep moving sideways with the 13 moving average running in parallel with the 200, or it'll bounce, or it'll break. Who knows? But that is the closest of the four pairs to a trade. Okay, so it's 2:20. I need to call it a day. Any questions?
So thank you, Richard.
Okay.
Thanks, Richard.
I'll send you that information, Tony. I know it's in there, but I've got it here, so I can send it off to you just in case. And
Cheers, Richard. Appreciate that. Thank you.
so thanks for jumping on, and I shall be back again. I'm gonna stick on the 2 minute chart for now and just see what happens. It may be that I have to change my set list and stick to. If it gives me an improvement, I'll stick to the 2 minute. So I'm going to call it a day. Thanks for jumping on. I'll see you on Thursday.
Thanks, Richard.
Cheers, Richard. Thank you. Cheers, everybody.
Thanks, Richard.